Look who's here, everyone. Deb Bernanke, our friend who joins us from time to time on this broadcast. She, of course, from Happier at Home. And today, Deb's here to talk about living options for senior citizens. And, you know, so many of us have people in our lives who are getting older, and they're making plans for what may happen to them or where they're going to live in the future. But that's something you really do need to discuss before you get to that point, right? Not a conversation to have when you need it. Like,
right.
It's good to do it now.
Yep. Just educating yourself about the options. And last time I was here, we talked about the different options and being aware of what costs are also. Because I think that if you can be taken off guard by the monthly expenses for assisted living communities and skilled nursing. And so there are different options as far as planning. You can look at long-term care insurance, which is something that not a lot of people are looking at because it can be pretty expensive. But if you look at the costs of home care and facility care, then you'll see that it's a financial risk that you would need to take to purchase long-term care insurance. But then if you, once we talk about the cost for this care, you'll understand it's worth it.
Let's look at some of these. The first is remaining at home. And I know that you've heard people probably say, I want to stay at home. But staying at home has its own challenges, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It does, and oftentimes it is less expensive to remain in the home, but if someone needs one-on-one and hands-on care and they need that care 24 hours a day, it's going to be more expensive. On an hourly basis, home care can cost between $19 and $24 an hour. And the disparity in the cost there is between the levels of care, if it's companion level care or if it's more hands-on care for bathing, lifting and transferring. That's where you get more to even $26 an hour. And those things are not covered by health insurance. So they may be covered by health insurance for short term if you're just getting out of the hospital.
Short term.
So, and that's, I think, one of the things that people get confused about. Even if you're coming out of the hospital and going into a rehab facility or a floor, that's a transitional thing where you're going to be going home eventually. So if sometimes that will be paid for, the rehab stay, but then we get into the whole observation versus admission status. And if you are not actually admitted to the hospital for 3 days or more, then your rehabilitation stay won't be paid for. So it's very important to understand under what conditions you're in the hospital if you're just on observation or not.
Debbie, I have a question for you because we're talking about price, and I'm looking at assisted living facilities as well, costing anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000 a month. How do people begin to wrap their head around this? Where do they start to even putting money away or thinking about down the road how they're going to pay for this? We don't think about being old one day.
We hear about saving for college, but...
Exactly.
But really, it's saving from when you're young, starting young and putting a little bit away for each paycheck. It's really, you really need to plan in advance and consider long-term care insurance. It is very expensive, like I said, most of the time, but you can also look at the different items that you want, and the price will vary based on that. But once it gets to the point of really needing an assisted living community or living within that community, it is too late to just start planning at that time, because they want to usually have a security deposit up front. They want to see some financials.
And
even if you don't, if you can't afford for a skilled nursing facility, Medicaid won't just jump in and pay right off the bat usually.
Where can they find you real quick?
You can find me at happieratHome.com.